Hello, and welcome to the Art of Shame-Free Living podcast. I hope you're enjoying these episodes as much as I am. So these next few episodes are going to be in connection to things that I've noticed in the world lately. So it's either things that I see on social media or conversations I've been having with clients or friends or people have asked me. I've been doing a lot of public speaking lately, so I've had the amazing opportunity to get a lot of questions asked and have said a lot of answers, and it's given me some ideas on what to share here on the podcast YouTube Substack channel. If you didn't know, you can read it, you can watch it, or you can listen to it. So today what I want to talk about is an analogy that I created to share what I have seen with what I call now shame energy. And it's the analogy of the two rooms. I want you to imagine that life is two rooms. There's an adjoining door, and that door can be open or that door can be closed. In the left-hand side room, that is where we are when we feel worry, fear, doubt, discouragement, shame, despair, resentment, regret, guilt, all of those things, all of those feelings that we often call negative, that are more uncomfortable feelings. Now, I think there's a gift in them. I think there's learning in them. I think that this is the growth room. I think this is the only room that we actually do grow in, is when we're feeling these uncomfortable emotions, feeling this discomfort. So when we find ourselves in this room, we're feeling all of these ways. What I've noticed is that whatever the problem is that kind of created that room for us or helped us enter into that room, there's only two answers. And those two answers are control and apathy. I will either make this thing work and I will figure it out and I will get to the answer, or there's nothing I can do about it and I just throw my hands up in the air. So whenever I notice that I'm feeling one of those feelings, or that I'm really in control of something, like really trying to micromanage things and ruminating in my thoughts a lot, or if I've swung over into apathy, which isn't as much my go-to, but occasionally I can stay in control for so long that eventually I burn out and move to apathy. If you're anything like me, you might resonate with that. So when I notice that I'm in that energetic room, now I pause and I'm like, wait a second. I know that when I'm in this room, this is the room that tells me that it's a problem. It's a huge problem. It has to be fixed. It's urgent. It feels like it's right in front of my face. It usually leads to ruminating thoughts for me, where I'm thinking a lot. And that is not the energy in which I create solutions. That is not the energy that is solution energy. That's the problem energy. And so now I know, okay, if I'm in the left-hand side room, my goal is to not try and find an answer. My goal is to remember what room I'm in and remember that the answer is held once I shift to the other room. And shifting to the other room happens through shifting my energy, through moving through the emotional tunnel, which I'll talk about in a minute. So in the right-hand side room, that's like the trust room. That's the room where my intuition is able to drop in and the answers find me. I'm not trying to seek them or search them. It doesn't take a lot of energy or effort or work to solve it. I'm less in my mind and I'm more in my body. I'm feeling trust, like everything is working for my good. Everything will work in the time, in the way, in the how that it's meant to. And I feel so much more relaxed. I feel so much more release. There isn't lack in this room. Everything feels abundant and expansive. I feel joy, but my joy presence is often more of just calm. It's more of lack of the discomfort feeling. I just am. So this beautiful room, this right-hand side room, also holds impossibility. This is when I've noticed things in my life that shouldn't have worked out, but they actually did. This is when impossible math works out. This is where manifestation lies. This is why manifestation and intuition work is also shame work. Now, do I want to just live in the right-hand side room all of the time? Probably not. I think that on the left-hand side room is gifts. It's learning. It's growth. In fact, now I intentionally put myself in that room sometimes so that I can feel discomfort, because I know that discomfort will lead to more growth for me. For instance, I didn't used to enjoy public speaking. It used to be difficult for me. I used to have a heart that was racing. I used to ruminate in a lot of thoughts. I was really worried. I was really nervous about it. I put myself intentionally in those uncomfortable situations, but over time, I felt calm. Over time, I felt more inner confidence. Over time, I knew that this was a message that I wanted to share with people, and now I look forward to it. Now I feel more energized and more interested and invested in that. So I think that discomfort can always lead to growth. So I'm not saying we should just always live in the right-hand side room, but what I am saying is when we find ourselves in the left-hand side room, feeling worry, fear, doubt, discouragement, despair, all of those feelings, Let's pause and not try to find a solution yet, because the solution that's created from that energy will create more of that energy for us. It's not going to actually help us feel any better. And it might not be the right solution. It might not be the solution that's actually best for everyone concerned. Or if it is, it won't be as effective because I won't be planting that from the right energy. So what I want you to do is, if you're in that room, what I invite you to do is to pause. And I know your brain is going to be like, but what if it's a real problem and it needs a solution? That's what mine feels like too. When I'm feeling in this room, it feels like it has to be solved right now. It is very urgent and it's actually a problem. Even when it feels like the biggest problem, I want to invite you just to pause. We can come back for a solution later. Just remind your brain, this doesn't mean we're just ignoring it. In fact, this is giving it more intention, more attention of the kind that will be productive for us. And we're going to work on shifting our energy first so that we can open ourselves up to the room of possibility, the right-hand side room where anything is possible, where creative solutions just drop in that I don't even have access to when I'm in the left-hand side room. One of my friends sent me a message from her psychology textbook, and it was talking about Brené Brown, and it said that shame can lead to growth. But it's not staying in shame that leads to growth. It's recognizing my shame that leads to growth. When I stay in shame, I only can create more shame. But recognizing what's actually happening and then noticing that less than, not enoughness energy and shifting that to a different energy that feels more whole, that is where the growth comes in. And we're going to continuously find ourselves in the left-hand side room through life and relationships and money and business and all of the things. And that's not a problem. What we want to recognize is when we're in that room, that it's sitting more deeply in the feeling, sitting more deeply in the energy of that room that will help us release, open that adjoining door, and we will just find ourselves in the right-hand side room. So how do we get from the left-hand room to the right-hand side room? One is just awareness, recognizing that I'm even in it. For me, that usually looks like control because that's just how I roll. Whenever I'm in control of something where I feel like, ooh, I just really have to like micromanage every single thing and I have to get this done, that's when I know I'm not in the room that I want to be in. And so I just pause. I'm going to circle back to it later. So first is going to be awareness. The second one is going to be writing things out. You can either do this like talk to text or a voice memo, or you can actually write it out physically. I love to write things out physically in journals. And these are journals I don't just keep forever. I rip them up and throw them away after. But I want you to write out every single thing that comes into your mind when you're thinking about this problem, whatever got you into that room in the first place. And then after you've written it all out, not judging ourselves, but just writing everything out, I invite you to go back and start questioning each of those. And questioning to me looks like deepening. What's really underneath this? What might actually be bothering me here? What meaning am I attaching to this? What's really the root of this underneath everything? I don't want you to question in a dismissive or a condescending way to yourself. Why are you thinking that? That's dumb. That's not the kind of questioning we're doing here. We're not just trying to change our thinking in a snap. We're trying to show our brain what's really happening under the surface. We're trying to gain more awareness. That's the kind of questioning that we're doing as we journal. I call that intuitive journaling. Once we've moved through that intuitive journaling process, and hopefully that will have really churned up some emotions in our body, then we want to sit with the feeling. The healing is in the feeling. The feeling is where we really ultimately want to get to. And we're going to sit in that feeling like it's that tunnel of emotion. And we're going to sit in it for as long as we need to sit in it for. And we're going to let it be there for as long as it needs to. We're not going to be condescending or dismissive about our feelings either. We're going to welcome them. We're going to accept them. Even if it's telling us something like, this is so small, you shouldn't worry so much about that. It's not that big of a deal. It's okay. It feels like a big deal to me. Therefore, it is a big deal. And that's okay. So we're going to sit in the feeling of whatever feels like that big deal until we notice that release. And maybe we have to do that a few times. I'm hoping over time to share some guided meditations and subconscious practices on this podcast, YouTube, Substack thing. So you can look out for those in the future. But for now, just start gaining that awareness, writing down your journaling, and then just guiding yourself through sitting with the feeling and notice what shifts for you. Notice the possibilities and the creative solutions and the intuitive ideas that flow when you're able to shift into the right-hand side room. And also not thinking of the left-hand side room as like a problem or like a prison cell that we're never supposed to be in. Sometimes my brain tells me that. It's no, we should feel happy and good all the time. But really, there's a lot of learning and growth in the left-hand side room. And the more that I'm able to shift this, the more that I'm able to recognize it and shift into the right-hand side room and live more from that space and be appreciative when I'm in the left-hand side room. I've been noticing lately, like there were so many opportunities for journaling over the last few weeks where I was getting ready for a speaking event, or I was looking at all of the things that I have in my calendar, or I was trying to manage screens with my kids. And I noticed myself in this left-hand side room. And I was like, wait, this is not where we create ideas. This is not the solution room yet. I'm just going to get into my body. So I would journal about each of those topics, journal about what's coming up, and sit with my feelings. And I wouldn't come back to try and find a solution, or rather let the solution find me until I've shifted that energy. So I invite you to try this, see how it works for you. I would love to hear from you as well. You can comment below and I can answer that as well. And if you're enjoying these episodes, please share, please comment, follow, subscribe, do all of those things that really help get this message out in the world. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next week. If you are enjoying these episodes, I would love for you to follow, subscribe, like, share, do all those things so that it can get more out into the world, more out into the algorithm, and join me in this shame-free movement.